Hello and welcome. I am Ladi Akiridoluale. Tonight, President Buhari says Nigeria has gained infrastructure projects worth $5 billion from partnership deals with China in the last 2 years. Labour demands payment of entitlements for more than 2,000 workers killed by insurgents in the northeast. Former Senate President David Mark promises to turn Nigeria's economy around in 2 years as he picks PDP presidential form. And 6 persons killed and several others injured as Typhoon Jebi hits Japan, the strongest natural disaster to hit the Asian country in 25 years.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's manufacturing index for the month of August reflects economic expansion at fastest pace since the start of 2018.
And on sports news tonight, champion Sloane Stephens crashes out of the US Open after a 6-2, 6-3 quarterfinal defeat to Anastasia Savastova of Latvia at Flushing Meadows.
From Abuja, Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo launches empowerment program for 30,000 petty traders in Osun State.
We begin tonight from Beijing in China, where the president allayed the fears of Nigerians over insinuations about a debt trap by the Chinese government on developing countries. President Muhammadu Buhari is confident that Nigeria would be able to repay the loans, explaining that the country has implemented infrastructure projects worth $5 billion from partnerships with China in 2 years. The president was speaking during a roundtable at the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing. He explains that Nigeria's partnership with China has resulted in the construction of the first urban rail system in West Africa, a $500 million project inaugurated in Abuja in July this year. The president says, quote, "These vital infrastructure projects synchronize perfectly with our economic recovery and growth plan. Some of the debts incurred are self-liquidating. Our country is able to repay loans as and when due, in keeping with our policy of fiscal prudence and sound housekeeping." End of quote. President Buhari also explains that Nigeria is leveraging Chinese funding to execute $3.4 billion worth of projects at various stages of completion. The projects, according to him, include the upgrading of airport terminals, the Lagos-Kano rail line, the Sungero hydroelectric power project, and fiber cables for internet infrastructure. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Idris, has denied any knowledge of the raid on Chief Edwin Clark's house and has also ordered the immediate arrest of the 4 police officers and the informant involved. The police chief says the fact that they receive information from members of the public on a daily basis does not give room for any breach of law or misconduct by any of its personnel. Mr. Idris explains that he has ordered an investigation into the action of the officers and the report of the findings will be made public. Meanwhile, elder statesman Chief Edwin Clark says he's considering legal action against the police after his house was raided by men of the Inspector General's Special Tactical Squad. According to him, the policemen stormed his residence with a warrant in search of weapons, but no weapons were found after the search. He describes the action as a disgrace and an embarrassment to his person.
About 12:30 p.m., when they came to me that policemen were waiting for me, I said, "What for?" They said they have a search warrant to search my house. I said, "Let them come in. Let me see them." So the 4 of them came up. Some were outside, and I learned somewhere. They came with the 2 vans, and so they showed me the search warrant. So I asked them, "Do you know me? I'm an old man going to 92. I've been a federal minister of information. I've been a senator. So you think that from your search warrant, I'm stockpiling weapons? Go ahead to search." So they went down, searched all the rooms outside. Then they found nothing. I said, you found nothing? I said, yes. So they wrote their report and asked 3 of my people to sign, and 3 of them signed. And so they left. But it's a total embarrassment. Nobody can intimidate me. I think it is purposeful. They said they are from technical, IG technical, special technical force. Squad. Well, I've consulted my lawyers. I'm a Nigerian. As I said, nobody can calm me down.
Elder Statesman Chief Edwin Clark. The Anambra State Joint Security Operations Team, headed by the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Garba Umar, has read the Riot Act to members of the proscribed indigenous peoples of Biafra, IPOB, to shelve their alleged plan for another sit-at-home within the month of September. The police chief says the team is ready to deal with any unlawful activity targeted at truncating the nation's democracy. The police commissioner and other service commanders in the state were speaking at a joint conference in Awka, the state capital. They emphasized the need for proper coordination and synergy among the state security agencies in the state.
We are now appealing to members of the public. On no account should they be intimidated, harassed, or coerced into joining the activities of IPOB. Their plan to call for sit-at-home between 14, 12, 13, and 14 of this month. The security agencies are ready, quite ready for any eventuality. And we want to assure members of the public to go about doing their lawful businesses. The issue of calling for a referendum on the 8th of this month or thereabouts by IPOB will not be tolerated.
The Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, is advocating the use of forensic and investigative auditing to prevent fraud and financial crimes in Nigeria. Mr. Malami believes that forensic and investigative auditing has been deployed across the world to prevent corruption, and Nigeria should not be left out. He explains that the federal government has deployed several measures to check corruption, but wants the measures strengthened. He was speaking at the International Conference on Forensic Auditing in Abuja.
Forensic and investigative auditing, which is now being aggressively promoted by your association in Nigeria, has been recognized globally as an effective approach to fraud prevention and for gathering the needed prosecutorial evidence in financial crimes. Nigeria must therefore key into this global trend. Consistent with this avowed anti-corruption agenda, Mr. President has, since assumption of office through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, introduced a number of measures aimed at preventing culprits of corruption from using money or properties obtained through corrupt practices. While such measures will be strengthened to achieve the desired objective, it is a belief of the Buhari's administration that those who corruptly enrich themselves with public funds should not only be denied the benefits or proceeds of their corrupt practices, but should be tried in court and, where found guilty, should be jailed to serve as deterrents to others.
Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami. The President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Mr. Ayuba Waba, is calling for the payment of entitlements of over 2,000 workers killed by insurgents in the Northeast. The NLC President explains that the delay in the payment of the entitlements to families of the deceased workers has brought untold hardships to them. Mr. Waba frowns at the attitude of state governments who are yet to pay the entitlements of those who have been affected by the insurgency.
The insurgency in the northeast has left many families thinking of how to rebuild their lives. Although attacks have reduced in recent times, families of workers who lost their lives are yet to be paid their entitlement. This meeting, organized by the Nigeria Labour Congress and the American Solidarity Center, seeks to find solutions to how lives can become better for families of persons who have lost their lives owing to insecurity.
We will write a formal demand to those governors to say that those workers, teachers, health workers, local government workers that have died in active service should actually be paid their benefit.
In 2016, the Solidarity Center commissioned a research on the impact of the insurgency on workers. The result identifies indiscriminate detention and extrajudicial killings of suspects, as well as destruction of alternative sources of income, as some of the challenges workers face.
We have a group of insurgents that have targeted those individuals who educate the young, who respond first in terms of crises and medical emergencies, and who even those workers who are responsible for rural transportation. So those civil servants who represent the human infrastructure of a community have been targeted.
One of the women who lost her husband to Boko Haram attacks narrates how she has been fending for her 3 kids since the demise of her husband in 2015.
Ina so a taimaka mana saboda kuɗin makaranta ma yana gagara. Inda a ce ina da kuɗi zan iya in zauna da su gaba ɗaya an kula da su, an kula da makarantansu. Kuma da kuɗina nake yin komai. Kuɗina kuma ba kuɗi da ba ni junior staff ne.
Stories of women like Asabe leaves many weeping. They call on the government to wipe her tears by paying all outstanding benefits of her late husband.
In politics, the former Senate President, David Mark, has joined the 2019 presidential race. The former Senate President picked the presidential nomination form of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, at the party's secretariat in Abuja today. Senator Mark explains that his military background is an added advantage to lead the country and that he will address Nigeria's security and economic challenges if given the opportunity. The 2-time Senate President will be contesting the PDP presidential ticket alongside former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the current Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, Governors Aminu Tambuwal and Ibrahim Dankwabo, and Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, amongst others.
2 years is given the opportunity to turn the economy of this country around, to solve the insecurity problems. We will bring Nigeria a level of distrust in this country they have never been experienced in the history of this country. To gain Nigerians trust and to be proud Nigerians, as they are aware, I'm a family Nigerian. I have a very good military background. Obviously, there are priority areas. Restructuring is one of them, and I think the time has come for us to restructure this country so that Nigerians will feel that they are part of an integral part of this.
Former Senate President David Mark. In part 2 after the break, INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner seeks collaboration with the police to end vote buying ahead of Osun State's governorship election. That's in a moment. Please stay on with us.